Hi, I'm Fred Penn and welcome to Penn Zone. This episode is hot on the heels of episode 3 where I showed you how I installed an auxiliary fuse box. Now this episode is episode 4 of course, and it deals with a problem I encountered after I disconnected the battery to work on the electrics. And the problem I encountered was that, and it's called, well, I think it's an idle issue where you pull up and while the vehicle's idling, it'll stall. And this was reoccurring, happened all the time, and it coincided with the work on the vehicle, disconnecting the battery. So I went to the University of Google and did a search and discovered it is not an uncommon problem on the Subaru or the Forester and maybe other vehicles with electronic engine management systems. And the solution is what people are calling a idle relearning. Who would have thought? The car has to relearn, go to school, get the grades, pass, and then it'll be good. So I gather it must lose some of the settings, and the relearning recalibrates everything and gets it back into order. I don't know why vehicles have this process that you have to go through. Maybe it's to do with that you got to take it back to a dealer and spend the money. I don't know. So I won't go into detail because I recommend you do a search if you're having this problem. My problem may have cleared up on its own if I just persisted, but driving in city traffic, going to work and having to restart the engine at traffic lights was a little bit unnerving, especially if the battery starts struggling a bit in cold weather and winter at the moment. And so go through the process, go online, do a search, and you'll find the issue. You can type in Subaru Forester or Subaru idle relearning, and it'll come up with various options which are fairly consistent. The process I used was I turned off everything in the vehicle, all accessories, radio, even the interior light. I disconnected the negative terminal, and they do suggest that you pump the brake or turn something on and off just to discharge any residual current in circuits, whatever. So I did that process. I let it sit for, well, probably over 10 minutes. They do say anything from 10 to 30 minutes if you've got time. Do it for 30. Then you reconnect the battery and don't touch anything. You sit in the vehicle, put the key in the ignition, and without touching throttles or starting, just turn it to the run position for 10-15 seconds. Then start your car. Again, don't touch the throttle, don't turn anything on, and let it idle for 10 to 25, probably 25 minutes, 30 minutes, because you want the management system to, well, you want the engine to get up to temperature. Some people say run it until the cooling fans start up, or at least the engine's running for 30 minutes. Your fans might not start up if you're doing this in cold weather, and let it build up a recognition of the idle, and it starts learning. And I think the other thing you do after that is you turn the ignition off, pull the key out, let it sit for another 10 minutes, put the key in without turning anything on again or touching throttles, turn the key to run, don't touch anything, throttles, let it for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, then start it again. And after that process, your vehicle should have learnt the correct idle parameters, measuring fuel, air. It might vary between 91 octane, 95 octane, 98 octane, whatever fuel you're running. So that is part of the the solution that you might encounter. I actually ended up doing it twice, because the first time, I don't know if I did part of the process incorrectly, but I did it twice, and now my car's running fine. Initially, after the second time, I still had a couple of little where the engine would drop down very low in revs, but not cut out and then just settle, and now it seems to be working fine. It's a bit of a rigmarole, and if you've got any doubts, take it to a service centre and get it sorted out. But it is possibly a inexpensive fix, and if you do it yourself, it's free. I like free. If you enjoy watching Pinzone and following my Subaru Forester adventure, please subscribe and hit that little bell and get get prompted when a new episode uploads. So again, this is just information following on from my previous episode when I installed the auxiliary fuse box, disconnected battery, and encountered some idle issues. So may all your futures be idling free. Anyway, thanks again. See you then.